Okay, what we're going to talk about real quick is finding a reverse azimuth. And that's important because if we travel on a certain bearing and we get lost or we think we've went too far, we may want to go back where we came from, or at least go in the opposite direction for a little bit to see if we recognize something that we may have passed up where we actually want it to be. So for this evolution, what we need to do is we need to figure out a reverse azimuth. And the mathematical way to do that is fairly simple, but I'm going to show you how to do it on your compass in a moment as well. If we have a bearing in our compass that is less than 180 degrees, so let's say that our bearing of travel, BT, bearing of travel, is 40 degrees. And we want to figure out what the reverse azimuth of that is. What we're going to do is we're going to add 180 degrees to that to get a reverse azimuth. All right? So 220 degrees is our reverse azimuth of 40. Now, on the other hand, if our travel bearing, our bearing of travel is over 180 degrees, so let's say our bearing of travel equals 100 and, say it's 260 degrees. So now we're over that 180 degree mark. Now we want to subtract 180 degrees from this. And 80 degrees is going to be our reverse azimuth. So if we are traveling on a bearing that is less than 180 degrees, we add 180. If we're traveling on a bearing that's over 180 degrees, we're going to subtract 180. That's the mathematical formula to figure your reverse azimuth. Now let me show you on a compass how simple this can really be. Okay, in our first example on the board, our travel bearing was 40 degrees. Now, if we want to know what our reverse azimuth is, it's very easy just to look at the bottom of our compass, because that's exactly 180 degrees difference. And that shows us that if we're traveling on a 40 degree bearing, our reverse azimuth is 220 degrees. We didn't have to do any math or do any calculations on that. Now, let's look at our second example of a travel bearing of 260 degrees. So here we are with a travel bearing plugged in at the top of our compass of 260 degrees. And if we look at the bottom of our compass, our reverse azimuth, which is right there at the red dot, is 80. And I may be just a little bit off on this because I'm kind of trying to manipulate this compass around the camera that's kind of in my way. But you can see that that's pretty close. If I've got the correct number plugged in at the top, I'll get a number at the bottom. That's my reverse azimuth. So all we really have to do, no matter what our azimuth is or our travel bearing is at the top, always with this toward the front, this is the travel arrow in our compass, whatever's at the bottom of the compass is always going to be our reverse azimuth, and we don't have to do any math to figure that out.